In a period of 2 years, an evil man was able to take the lives of more than 24 vulnerable women in the US, leaving their families in devastating pain. Hi, welcome to Wolfness Investigations, and let's look into the case of Billy Chermirmir, Kenya's most famous serial killer. So what makes one a serial killer? A serial killer is defined as a person who murders 3 or more people in a period of over 1 month, with the murders being separate events. This means they are not committed at the same time, and most of the murders are driven by psychological thrill or pleasure. Famous known serial killers are like Ted Bundy, John Wayne Gacy, and in Kenya, examples are Philip Onyancha and Geoffrey Matheri, aka Fongo. But today we are going to look into one of the most famous Kenyan serial killer, Billy Chermirmir, who attacked, killed, and stole from the elderly women in the US. Let's get into it. Billy Kipkorir Chermirmir was born in 1972. He was raised in Solai and schooled in Nakuru. Chermirmir was the 8th born in a family of 9 children, and his father was a chief. After high school, he relocated to Kibonyong village in Baringo, where he drank a lot, and people described him as a loner. But in the late 90s, his sister came to his rescue and secured him a visa to the US to work as a caregiver. Before being arrested for the murders, Chermirmir had gotten himself into trouble a couple of times. He was arrested and accused of various crimes, which included driving under the influence, DUI, in Addison, then later at Dallas. This was in 2010 and 2011. Then in 2012, he was arrested for assaulting his girlfriend and sentenced for 70 days in jail. In 2016, he was arrested again for trespassing at Chermirmir Retirement Community. This is a high-end senior living complex, and for this he was sentenced for 70 days in jail, but got out after only 12 days due to good behavior. What the police did not know at this point is that he had already started killing. I thought it would be better to know how the murders happened in the correct order, because the murders happened over a very short period of time as compared to other serial killers like BTK, who had a long cooling off period. A cooling off period is the break between killings, and Chermirmir had a very short cooling off period because the murders happened between 2016 to 2018, and by the time he was arrested in 2018, it is believed that he had already taken over 24 lives. In 2016, he killed 3 women at Chermirmir Retirement Community. Then later in the same year, he was accused of committing 8 more murders and stealing jewelry at the traditional Princeton Wood Assisted Living. And in 2017, he continued with the killings at Parkview Apartments in Frisco, Texas, where he posed as a maintenance worker and attacked a 93-year-old woman. He asked her if she had work, but before she could answer him, he knocked her off her walker and tried sniffing her screams. Then he smothered her with a pillow, but fortunately she survived and would be one of the 2 victims to survive, and proved to be very important to the case because she was able to pick Chermirmir off a photo lineup. On March 28th, another survivor, Mary Battelle, was rescued by firefighters after Chermirmir forced his way into her house, told her not to fight him and to lie on the bed. Then he smothered her with a pillow and took off with her jewelry. But incredibly and luckily, she did not die and would later testify to all this in court. This is when the police started taking a closer look and discovered a pattern of death at the senior living community. 7 women had died within a period of 6 months, and their jewelry was taken. The deaths were assumed to be from natural causes due to their ages. A week before Mary was attacked, one of her neighbors noticed a suspicious vehicle in the neighborhood, a silver Nissan Altima. He wrote the number plate down, and when the police came to investigate, he passed along the information. The police found out that the car belonged to Chermirmir and it had been in other crime scenes. So on March 20th, 2018, they decided to stake out Chermirmir's apartment. This is when they saw him throw something in the dumpster. They fished the item out and found a red jewelry box belonging to Lucy Harris. They arrested Chermirmir and decided to search his car. This is where they also found Harris's key, and they decided to go and check on her. Unfortunately, they found her dead. According to the police, in some cases he went door to door at the apartments pretending to be a maintenance worker. On the other cases, like Harris's, he stalked them at Walmart and followed them home before taking their lives. After Chermirmir was arrested, investigations commenced. He was accused of smothering an 81-year-old woman to death in 2018 and was also indicted for 11 additional counts of capital murder. The trial date was set for April 2021, then it was delayed to November. It started on 15th, and on 19th, the judge declared a mistrial due to jury deadlock. 5 months later, Chermirmir was taken to court for the murder of Luthi Harris, and at the trial, the prosecutor showed a lipstick-stained pillow that was used to attack her. The detectives also testified that they found Chermirmir with Harris's items. The items were also identified by the son-in-law of Harris, who also identified Harris's handwriting on an envelope found on Chermirmir. Inside was a $2 bill, and according to the son-in-law, she had a habit of keeping an envelope with her to give out as gifts. After all the evidence and testimonies, Chermirmir maintained his innocence, and he was convicted to life in prison without parole. Mary Batel's trial began, and Chermirmir found himself in court for the third time. Mary's identity had not been released until her trial started. This was either because she was a surviving victim of a crime or at the request of the families of other victims. During the trial, a video evidence was used where she had testified on camera and told what happened. The video was used because sadly she had passed away before the trial had begun. In the video, she described how the attack happened, but said she could not identify the attacker. After the testimonies and the evidence, Chermirmir was sentenced to life in prison without parole. This means that he is serving 2 life sentences in prison without parole. He will probably die in prison. Chermirmir is believed to have committed more than 24 murders. The remaining charges against him were dismissed, which disappointed a lot of people, including the families of the victims. If you have made it this far, thank you, and I send my condolences to the victims' families, and may the victims' souls rest in eternal peace.